All right, this lesson is going to be on identifying conflict of interest. So we have an employee table with employee information. It's going to have employee name, phone number, social security, routing number, and bank account number. And then we're going to have a vendor table that has name, phone number, tax ID, routing, and account number. So, the idea is that if an employee information, like their routing number or account number, matches with a vendor, then potentially, they set up a fake vendor and they're paying themselves through the AP process. So we're going to try and identify that, and we'll go ahead and use Python to do that. So we're going to open up a Jupyter notebook. We don't have one created yet. We'll type in the address bar, Jupyter notebook. Okay. So it's going to open this. It's important just to minimize it and not close it. And then a browser will open. Okay, it shows our two files, and we need to create a Jupyter notebook. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Okay, we'll call this conflict of interest, employee to vendor table. Okay, we're going to import pandas as PD. That's the main data analytics library within Python. And we'll go ahead and read in our two data tables. We're going to say this one is DFE. Do pd.read Excel. And then we'll go grab the name. All right, we'll put that here. Now I'm going to pull in all the data types as string. I think that's a little bit safer a lot of times. And if we really need to convert something to numbers, we can after we bring it in. So I'll bring in that, and we're going to call vendor data DFV. And we'll go grab the other one. All right, so now we have them both in here. There's our employee data. The thing I want to do first is to go ahead and remove the different formattings between the phone number and social security number, because I think that just the different formatting could cause it not to match when we want it to. So I think the easiest way to do that is really just to remove everything that's not a number. So we're going to go ahead and do that. My phone number. Then we're going to use the replace function. All right. So this is going to identify everything that is not a digit, and it's like a regular expression that we're going to be using. So we need to put the option as regex equals true. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing for social security number. So we'll paste it and just replace this here and here. All right. Now when we look at the employee information, we don't have the dashes or anything anymore, and it's just the numbers. So that'll make it pretty clean, and we're going to do that to the vendor side as well. So we'll look at the vendor table. All right, it has some different formats in the phone number, the tax ID number, and the account number. So we'll go ahead and kind of fix that up similar way. I'll make it a little bit smaller just so I can see it all in one place. Okay. And so that should have got phone. We'll grab tax ID. should get tax ID. And we'll do account number. We don't need to do routing number. All right. Now if we look at it again, should look good. All right, everything looks good. All right, so we'll go on to the next step. So the next step we want to work through is actually identifying. We'll go ahead and look for identification of phone numbers, okay? So we're going to filter the vendor table, and we're going to filter it for when the phone number in the vendor table is in, and this is the E, so that's important. That's the employee table phone, okay? So this is, we're going to filter the vendor table when the vendor table has a match that's in the employee table. And both of them are called phone number, but that is something to check just to make sure you do it based on what this column's called and what this column's called. Okay. So whenever we do that, we can see, okay, lumbar yard has a match. Okay, so the phone number is matching. So if we want to see the employee it matches, we'll go ahead and just reverse this. Okay, so we'll filter the employee table by the employee phone number when the phone number is in the vendor table. All right, that's Kevin Jackson. We can see the phone number here and the phone number here. So that's how we'll match against items. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and match across a few other items. I think we will do the tax ID number versus the social security number next. Okay, so really it works the same way. We're going to take this, but instead of using phone number, on the vendor table, it's tax ID number, right? So we'll put 10. Okay, and then on the employee table, it's going to be a social security number. Okay, so let's change it to social security number. All right, so we do have a match. Shop around the corner. This is the tax ID number. Okay, so to find the employee that matches, we do the same as above. We'll go ahead and just reverse it. Ah, I messed up. Okay, and I see why. Now it's going to say key error 10 because it didn't find 10 on the employee, and I got that a little bit backwards. So this is actually the employee side. So we'll put social security number, and this is the vendor side. So we'll put 10. And I can tell that just because the V is here and the E is here, right? So I did it backwards. So it's important to get that right. But when it says key error, that normally means that you just kind of identified the wrong column. Okay, so we have Kathleen Kelly, shop around the corner. Those tax ID numbers match. So we probably need to follow up on that. All right, so we'll do a bank route number. So we'll do it very similar. Go ahead and grab this. All right, now we need to make sure we get it right. So this is the vendor filter with the tax ID number. So they have it called route number on the vendor table. Okay, this is the employee table, and they have it called bank route here. All right, we see we actually have two matches, okay? So we will identify the employee records by just doing the reverse. Now, one other trick you have to do is you do have to move this over here and this over here, just because they have different names for the information we're going to look at. We're going to look at the route number is on the employee, and the route number is on the vendor, and the bank route is on the employee. All right, so we can see that these two matches go along with these two items. So one thing, whenever I've looked at bank route numbers, you'll see that, this bank route number does match this bank route number, but this account number is different than this account number. And that's just because I've seen that because, one bank might have a routing number that's, just for the whole bank. And potentially there's a lot of, and then there will be a lot of bank accounts associated with it. So it's probably more important to look at account number because that's rarely something that's shared across banks. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, I'll just grab my first one. All right. And then on the vendor table, it is called account number. And on the employee table, it's called bank account. All right, so we still have one match at that level, the account level. Right, we'll reverse it. And we'll need to change the columns. I'm just cutting and pasting just to kind of reverse it. All right, so now we can see we got Philip Bedford and we have Buy More. And we have a match on the account number, and the writing number also matches, so we can see. So those are the things that we will want to follow up on. It's going to depend on your organization, whether you have like a fraud department to send that to, or if you're going to elevate it to maybe, the VP of operations for whatever plant you're looking at, or if you're just going to filter it out through legal and potentially give it to them to follow up on. But that's how you identify matches between some of these information between vendor and employee accounts to try and find conflict of interest. All right, thanks. Let me know if you guys have any questions and I can help in the chat.